All right, so I'm doing another cooking. Well, I'm going to cook, and I'm filming by myself again. So we'll see how this turns out. Hopefully it'll work. This is something real simple today. It is Memorial Day, so first thing I want to do is say thank you to our veterans, and especially for Memorial Day, for all the people that gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. So in the United States, to all of the people watching from the United States, happy Memorial Day, and remember the rights that they fought for and stand up for those rights because it's always under threat. We're never completely safe, but if we all stand together, we can do unbelievable things to protect the rights of everyone in this country. And I believe that the United States is a beacon to the world, or can be a beacon to the world. We've fallen short many times through slavery and some other things. But if we all stand together, we can get through anything. So be sure and stand for the rights of your neighbor. And don't let those that gave the ultimate sacrifice and died for our country to have died in vain. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And this is not your typical Memorial Day cookout. This can be a side dish, or this can be something that you eat as a whole meal like I do. But not grilling out today, but it is a nice sunny day outside, and I think of this as the perfect spring pasta dish. So it's kind of a spring summer thing where it's real light, tastes great, not real fattening. It's got a little pasta in it, but it's not terribly fattening, and it's good for you. So anyway, I'll get to showing you the ingredients right now. I've got the pasta boiling behind me. And so as soon as that's done, I'll show you all the ingredients and we'll go from there. All right, so here's the ingredients. First, I got my pasta. I went ahead and boiled the pasta. And I'm using bow tie, but you can use any type of pasta you like. I just like bow tie with this. Sometimes I use rigatoni. Whatever it says on the pan or on the package of pasta that you get, you make sure you want to make this al dente. So it's not, I even go even shorter than what the package states as al dente because you want it to be firm, so that when you, because you're going to cook this again with the other ingredients. So you want it to be sure to be firm. I always taste it. I could eat pasta just like this with just butter on it. So the rest of it, I've got olive oil. This is white wine vinegar. This little Parmesan cheese that goes on very last. Some shredded Parmesan. This is lemon pepper. And I just get any brand lemon pepper. But Dash usually makes it pretty good. So anyway, lemon pepper. Some salt. You don't need more pepper because you got lemon pepper. These are pine nuts. And the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pine nuts and I'm going to stir fry them just a little bit. If you stir fry them just a little bit, it brings out the flavor. You can also roast them. If you've never cooked with pine nuts, oh, it's so good, especially with like a light pasta dish like this, or something you can even make a salad with them. They're so good. This is fresh basil, kind of straight up and cut up. And this is just a little bit of spinach. It looks like a lot. I promise you, it's not. Just a little bit of spinach and it'll blend right in. Squash, zucchini, and onion, and that's it. That's all that goes in this. Well, a little bit of garlic. Actually, just probably will take like a clove of this, and that's it. Not much garlic. Fresh garlic makes everything taste better. Now I'm going to freak some people out now because you're not going to think this goes with this at all. I'm going to walk over to the other side of the kitchen and get something. First of all, Bella's looking up at me cooking. I always put, this is my coffee station. This is going to sound so strange, but it cuts the acidity. I don't use real sugar. I put a couple of equals. If you use sweet and low, just use one. I promise you that it's going to taste better. You just have to trust me on it. If you're using real sugar, maybe about a teaspoon. If you're using equal, maybe a packet and a half. Not very much. It's not meant to be sweet. It just helps cut the acidity level and helps bring out the other flavors. It's amazing. So I always use that. So just don't overdo it because you don't want this to be a sweet dish. So anyway, we're gonna get ready, and the first thing I'm gonna do is stir fry the pine nuts just a little bit. All right, so I've just got a little olive oil in my pan. Got it on about a 7. I might set it up to about an 8. This does not take long, but the pan's not real heated yet, so it kind of coats it in the olive oil first. The one thing that will surprise you when you go to get pine nuts, if you've never bought them before, is they are expensive. So just be prepared. But they make the dish so good. So I don't understand why they're expensive in East Texas, because the pine nuts really come from pine trees, which I've never figured out how you get the seeds out. But being in East Texas right now, I can't, understand that, because just like East Texas, North Louisiana, and a lot of areas along that road, we have a lot of pine trees. So this should be harvested easy. I mean, this should be like 10 cents. But for like a pretty big package, which this is about half of one package that I bought of it, it's $10. So pretty amazing. So don't waste it. All right, so literally this takes about a minute. When you see some of them starting to turn brown, that's when you want to stop. Because if you go any further, it's going to burn. And when you dip them out, you just dip them out without the oil best you can. All right, so these are my pine nuts, which are roasted and ready to go. You see a few dark ones in there, but not too much. They're just basically just a little bit of brown. And I promise you, just like a minute, maybe just a little bit more, stay right with them, stir them. But what you get is very toasted looking pine nuts. And you will see in the pan, it looks like it burned. It didn't. This is a mixture of the olive oil and the pine nut oil, which will flavor the dish. A lot more flavor than you would think pine nuts would have, because they're so tiny. They're so good. And I'm going to start chopping now. So I'm going to chop my zucchini, squash, onion, and maybe a clove or 2 of garlic. Alright, so I've got everything chopped up and ready to go now. I do keep all this gets added at different times. I keep my zucchini and squash separated, and they're cut in halves, sliced and halved. So like big bite-sized pieces for this. So I keep them separate because squash is a lot quicker to cook than zucchini. And since I want this to all be about the same texture when it's eaten, I do the squash last. I start with the zucchini because it just takes it a little bit longer. It's more full. It's because there's a lot more seeds, and these just slice a lot thinner. Here are, what's my pasta? Here are my onions and my garlic. They're over here because I don't know, I think I showed this trick on one of the other videos, but I like to chop onions and garlic and anything that I'm going to have some waste with, like the onion peel or the cloves after I smash them and chop those up finely. I like to just cut them, and then since I have a large sink, I sweep over with my knife any of the scraps that I have, like the ends of the garlic or the peel of the onion. Just makes it a lot easier and faster. You'll notice that my onion is very coarsely chopped because I want big bite-sized pieces for this. I don't want it to be chopped up finely. I want to taste the onion when you eat it. Which is actually very good. Even if you don't like onions, I promise you will like this. So anyway, we will get to going, and we'll start putting things to stir fry them. I'm going to start with the zucchini first. It cooks the fastest. Then I add the squash after that. And then we'll season just a little bit with the basil and the lemon pepper. Then we'll add the onions, garlic, pine nuts going pretty late. Last is spinach. Then we'll combine it all, and we'll put the pasta. And then after it's all cooked and kind of coated with a little bit of olive oil and seasoned up, then we'll put the white wine vinegar, just a dash of it on top. So here we go. Alright, so I've got my zucchini starting to cook. And I'm going to add a little of the lemon pepper. It's good and seasoned. I have again lost my spoon. Everybody knows I have a favorite spoon. This one. Belted on the end from cooking gumbo one time. Got all kinds of great utensils over there. Love this one. Okay, so you just want to cook this long enough to where it starts to soften up a little bit. In fact, sometimes I'll close the lid so it keeps some heat in. And it takes it just a few minutes. But you do start frequently, so don't leave it alone like this for very long. It's like something that heat to kind of steam just a little bit too, to make it easier. So I do my zucchini first, then I'll add the squash and onions at about the same time, the garlic with that, and the basil, the chopped up basil. Season it again, and then we'll do some of the final touches, but we'll combine it all in this pot over here, because this is the big enough to hold the pasta in it. So we'll put the pasta in that again first, and then we'll add everything. Alright, so the zucchini is just about ready, and the way I check, you'll see a couple of pieces where I've cut. I just press my spoon down on them, on one of the bigger pieces. If it cuts fairly easily, which it does, then it's ready for the squash. And the only reason this oil looks brown is because I did the pine nuts in them, and that's pine nut oil. It is so good. So we're going to add the onions and squash and the garlic now. I'm going to see if I can do this and keep it on camera. We shall see. I do have a camera stand, and sometimes I'll do that when I'm showing things over there, but it seemed like I could just add all this. Let's do this. There we go. Dumped everything in. Now I do want to go ahead and add, this is the chopped up basil. You'll notice, everyone knows I cook New Orleans, but this is not Creole. It's not even Cajun. This is Italian. If you're from New Orleans, let me tell you, you need to know how to cook Sicilian, Italian, because large part of the population. So those influences that I've talked about this before. Cajun people came down from Canada, and they're French Canadian, and they settled more of the rural parts, lived off the land, and created some unbelievable dishes just off the land. They have a type of gumbo, and then there's Creole, which is New Orleans. But New Orleans is a lot of different cultures, and Creole means a lot of different cultures. It's Caribbean, it's African, freed people of color back then, and slaves too. African, Caribbean, Sicilian, plus some other cultures, extremely international city, and they took from the Cajuns and from all those other cultures and learned to cook using the ingredients from their homeland, which is really cool. And then the Americans came in much later, but the Americans came in, oh, and I forgot about Spanish, which the French Quarter, if you drive around or walk around the French Quarter, you'll realize that the French Quarter, the buildings are in a Spanish style, because the French, even though they originally settled New Orleans, or actually I should say, found New Orleans, because the Native Americans were already there. When the French settled it, it all burned way back. And New Orleans is over 300 something years old. Way back, it burned. The French Quarter burned. And so they had to rebuild it. And when they rebuilt it, it was under Spanish rule, because Napoleon had sold it to the Spanish. Then the people, when they found out, it was under Spanish rule for a very short time, but enough to build those buildings. And then the people didn't know that they were under Spanish control, did not want to be under Spanish control, and actually rebelled against the Spanish government, against Spain. And then Napoleon got it back. So he bought it back, and then eventually sold it to the United States. the Louisiana Purchase, which is much more than just what Louisiana is now, of course. Everybody knows what American history knows that's about. But anyway, so New Orleans is this great blend of different cultures. It's all come together and created these unbelievable dishes. But this is not typical Creole. This is very Sicilian, which if you're in New Orleans, I highly, highly recommend you find Italian restaurants. Unbelievably good. Louisiana Pizza Kitchen, Mandina's, Rocky and Carlos, which is kind of home style food, but they're known for their baked macaroni and cheese with sauce. Is unbelievably good. And they're in Chalmette, just beneath New Orleans, suburb of New Orleans. And then the desserts, oh my gosh. Some of those Italian desserts at Bricata's is a place that's been in the same family for, oh gosh, it opened in the 1800s, early 1800s, I believe. It's been the same family since then. It's just been handed down generation after generation. They still work the counter. You can ask them stories. It's amazing. Lots of good Sicilian and Italian food in New Orleans. All right, this is just about ready. You want to keep, you know how you talk about pasta being al dente? You want to keep this al dente as well. But you don't want to bite into a raw onion, so you got to cook it some. But I don't know if you can tell, but the squash is getting done very quickly. Not quite done yet. That's good. Just keep stir frying, and in just a minute, we want to do the pine nuts last, because I've already roasted them. And not them. Yeah, I'm going to do this Roquefort spinach. I'm going to season this just a little bit more. This is lemon pepper. Stir that up real good. That lemon pepper is what gives it, besides just the ingredients, gives that great summer and spring feeling. Let's see. This is where I add in the most controversial thing ever. So I'm going to have to turn this off because I can't do this. I'm holding the camera, so I can't do this with my hand. So I just sprinkled that in. I ended up using like 1.5 packet of it. You just want to lightly put it in. I know a lot of cooks are freaking out right now. I just did that. That's okay. Let me tell you. Once you taste it, you're going to love it. So I'm going to check my squash again. That looks really good. Onions look done. There's a big hunk of onion in there. Oh, there it goes. Still put together. There. Alright, I think this is about done. So now we're going to add in the pine nuts next. Add a little bit of oil in the bottom. So I had a little bit of oil in the bottom. I had to use both hands. So, back off for a second. We got all the pine nuts in there now. Blend those up. And you don't want to cook this very long now at all. Go ahead and cut it off. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of this pan over here. It's a taller pan. As you can see, this is kind of a frying pan. Those are the cast iron, that coated cast iron that my mother got me. I love. I actually still have her mother's black wrought iron skillet. I only use that for cornbread usually. I love the way it makes things taste. You got to keep it seasoned though enough. Alright, so I'm going to combine some things. I'm going to put a little oil in here, put the pasta, dump this into there. So I'll show you that. Alright, so I've combined it all in this big pot. I don't have it turned on yet. You can do this at pretty low temperature, but I usually put it about medium. Spoon. And I stir all this up together. I always put my pasta in first, and then I dump everything from the frying pan I was using into it. It's kind of stirred up real good. You do want some heat on it because you're going to put the spinach in, which is going to shrivel up pretty quickly. But it's not real hot yet. As you know, I don't measure. Sorry about that. And I leave the stems on. I like the stems on spinach. And just stir it up real good. Spinach will start to wilt as soon as it starts to get hot. I'm already hungry. This looks so good. This is a dish also that you can serve cold as a salad. I like it hot. But it does taste good as a salad too. And like I said, you can use it as a main meal or you can use it as a side dish. I like the colors of this too. Colors mean so much when you're cooking to me. I love to, it just makes it taste better. I think your eyes are connected to your taste buds. And your smell. I guess all your senses are connected. They are for me anyway. Alright. So, this is good and mixed up. That spinach will continue to wilt some. I'm give it another stir. I'm going to get a little piece of pasta out. Just a taste and make sure. It does need a little more salt. About a teaspoon. And I promise you, you can't taste those equals either. It's barely a sweet taste. Put in a little more lemon pepper too. But what's really going to make it taste good, first of all, you can see that it's oily. It's got olive oil. It's just coated with olive oil. And as soon as it starts to get super hot, we'll put the white wine in. But just a little bit. It doesn't take much of the white wine. But it really gives it that finishing touch. One of the few dishes, like I said, this isn't a Creole or Cajun dish. One of the few dishes that I do not use my Tabasco, which is down here all the time because I use it in just about everything. And you can see how that spinach is starting to wilt in there. You can have more spinach than this if you wish. I think I used about half of what I bought. I'm one of those people that I love spinach. I don't like to cook spinach that much, except when it's in a dish like this. But I love spinach salad. It just tastes really good. But I will tell you that I cannot stand kale. And they say that the darker the green, the better for you. And I know that kale is supposed to be really, really good for you. I cannot eat it. It has some type of taste that just doesn't do it for me. But spinach, I can eat that raw. I love spinach. Especially when it's in salad. When it's done like this, it takes on all the flavors of the food. Quick taste. I mean, just about perfect. So it's hot. You can hear it kind of sizzling a little bit. And now, if I can do this with one hand, which I could not. Right, I could not do that with one hand. So I had to open it up. So I just sprinkle a little bit in there. And I don't measure, but you'll start to hear it sizzle as it hits the bottom. All that up. And that is it. I mean, this takes no time to cook, especially if you cut up everything in advance. It's real quick. This video is much longer than it actually makes it seem much longer, but it's not. It doesn't take long at all. And I'm going to save the Parmesan for individual servings just to put on top. I'm going to plate up a bowl and give it a taste. Alright, so this is it. And I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of Parmesan on top. And give it a taste. Trying to get a little piece of everything in there. First of all, it's hot. It is so good. I love to eat this on a hot summer day in the springtime. It just tastes so fresh. There's something about that lemon pepper and a little white wine vinegar that make it taste so fresh. I don't think I'm in the camera. Makes it taste so fresh. So, anyway, that's it. You can add some other things to this. Let's see if I can adjust this just a little bit so you can see me. Okay. You can add just a little bit more to this. You can do different things. Like you can add some tomatoes, chop in half some cherry tomatoes and put in there. Or just about anything you wish. Some people put bell peppers in it. I don't know. I've never seen this cooked by anybody. I even looked up on YouTube to see if anybody else did this. I can't find it. I just kind of created this as I went one day. So good. And it's perfect for a hot summer day. Perfect for the spring. Wonderful. So, I'm going to enjoy it now. I hope everybody has a great day. And again, happy Memorial Day. And thank you to all of our veterans and those that gave that ultimate sacrifice, and to the families that remain here. My heart goes out to you, but know that they died heroes. Love y'all. Have a great day. Be nice to everyone.